All right, so let us start. We are expecting few more, but I guess they can join in later. All right, so whoever is here, warm good evening to all of you, whoever is present here. Okay, so this is the debut series where we are doing with Y School, and I don't want to brag about it, but it is called ArifTalks. Okay, and of course, my name is Arif, and I'll be the host for this particular series. And whoever doesn't know me, I'll just repeat myself. My name is Arif, and thank you all for joining in. Today's session is about entrepreneurship potential in STEM. And for this first episode, which we have invited a 17-year-old boy who is very passionate for building things. He's a mastermind, and I remember some of his projects like voice control bionic arm, or some virtual present robots, computer games, and we'll be talking more about him. Of course, he is the CEO and founder and CEO of MindRealm, and is the world's first mind control gaming platform. And it is really interesting. I had read few things about it, and it is a very good solution to treat ADHD. And of course, he's a very special person. He has taken a lot of workshops, and I'm lucky to have him here. Okay, so on behalf of Y School, we would want to welcome today's special guest, Mr. Rishabh Java, and I would like him to introduce about himself, and we are very delighted to have him here to participate and share his experience. All right, Rishabh. Hi, how are you? Okay, I have to unmute you. Sorry.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you for the introduction, sir. I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Very well. It's long time we have not seen each other.
Yes, sir. Very long. Indeed, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So all of you, he's our guest for today, and he is none other than Rishabh Java. He's just 17-year-old, and once he starts speaking, you would want him to talk and talk and talk. All right, so we'll give the panel to him so he can introduce himself, and he can talk about his projects, and all of you can get excited, inspired. And if anyone has any questions or is not understanding anything, you can just write it on the chat so I can convey it to Rishabh. Right?
Yes, you all can do that. Okay, so just before I begin, I think I'll also give you a brief idea of what the talk will be about. So, I'll start talking a little bit about myself, followed by, how I got into making things and the projects I've worked on over the years. And then I was hoping to do a live demonstration, but then I'm having a few technical problems at the last minute. So instead, I'll be showing you a video of one of my projects, followed by me talking about a few workshops and other projects that I've been involved with, after which we can have I'll be talking about the importance of STEAM and why all of you all should, really take it up seriously and spend time learning STEAM and the different aspects and fields of STEAM. And after that, we'll have a live question and answer session.
Yes.
Yep. So I'm just going to share my screen because I have a short presentation. Arif, if you could just allow me to share my screen, please.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, and thank you all for attending on Friday evening. I know end of the week, everyone's very lazy, but still I'm glad you have quite a bit of participation here.
You can't share the screen?
Yeah, no, I can. Yeah, and you can see the presentation, right?
Yes.
Okay. So in that case, I will begin. So my name is Rishabh Java. I am 17-year-old. I'm a 17-year-old, just graduated from high school. Boy, I started making things at the age of 7 after I was inspired by a Hindi movie on robots. I think all of us here would have seen this movie, right? So funny movie where the person builds a robot and robot decides to kill him later. And I think I'd seen this movie when I was 7, and right after watching the movie, I was like, okay, I need my own robot. And so I came back home and I did the most obvious thing for a 7-year-old, went online and searched how to make a robot. That was literally my search term on Google. And I did not have any resources back then. So I did not actually land up making anything. But I think I would have spent the next 6 months reading almost every web page that would have shown up about making robots and building things. So while I did not have anything concrete that I had made out from that experience, I did learn a lot. I did gain a lot of knowledge from there. And my parents saw this interest of mine, and yeah, this was the search term basically. And they got me this small clap switch circuit basically. So this is like a small circuit that I'd made when I was 8, where I'd taken someone's help to solder it, but it was the first circuit I'd made. So you'd clap and the light would turn off, and you'd clap again and the light would turn off. So it was I think you can say this is like the very first project I'd worked on. And seeing this work, I had taken it to school and showing it to my friends in my class and everything. It was the excitement or the sort of feedback that I got from my classmates, it was very motivating to me. I think it was in grade 4 and they were all very excited to see something like that. And being the one who's built it, it got me wanting to do this more. And a few months after that, my uncle gifted me this Lego Mindstorms kit. I think now EV3 is more popular, so a lot of you all will be having EV3 in your school.
Yeah.
And I did not have any of that in my school because I was, I think, in a rather small school in Mumbai at the time. And I got this as a gift, and I think I spent the next 5 or 6 years just building random projects with this one kit. Anything like small robots or little more complicated machines or gizmos, just things that sort of would intended to make me look cool, or just show off to friends basically, or just learn something from them, develop that that programming logic, or get experience of designing things. And I was just doing this on my own, watching YouTube videos. I learned, reading online tutorials, and from there I learned about something called the Arduino, I think when I was 13, and 3D printing, additive manufacturing, and I and that's, I think, when I started making things with a sort of a purpose rather than just something that looks appealing or is attractive to people. And the first such project I worked on was the voice controlled prosthetic arm. So basically all this experience over the years of making simple and stupid projects, and I'll show you a few of them later, things I've built just for the heck of it. I had built this first project with a purpose. So this is like a $30 prosthetic. Now conventional prosthetics can cost you anywhere between like 5,000 to like even $100,000, like that can move and are based on like a live feedback loop, and you can control them. But this was the $30 alternative that you could either control directly with your brainwaves using a headset, or you could connect your mobile phone to it using Bluetooth and just use voice commands to either close the hand, point, or do certain gestures like that. And after that, I actually presented that at a few competitions, and having won a little bit of prize money and a 3D printer from there, I decided to take up a more ambitious project. So this is a robot called InMove. It's an open source 3D printed like robot. So this is more of a challenge that makers take. This is a challenge like makers around the world take, like 3D printing enthusiasts and all of that, because this takes a very long time to build, and it is extremely complicated. The electronics, the programming that goes into it, like 3D printing and designing and everything. So I had the resources, I had some funds from winning a competition. I thought, let's actually take up this challenge. And because in March of 2017 when I started, and spend the next 4 or 5 months using the build it the way it was designed approach, because it's open source, right? So the files were online, just had to print and assemble, but I had to do the electronics on my own. So I decided to take the build it the way it was designed approach, and it ended up looking somewhat like this, because basically there were a lot of problems with it. And after 6 months, the version looked like that, not clean at all. So I wasn't happy with it, and I went back and redesigned some of the parts, combining them to make them look better. And second version of it looked like that. His name's was I think it was the first version of Ferb, though.
So I just want to stop you here, Rishabh. The first
Yes, sir.
I actually saw you was with this project. If you
Oh,
remember, it was during the World
3D printing.
3D
Correct.
Printing Olympiad. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was coaching some other team. If I'm not wrong, I was for DPS Sharjah.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember I came to you, and the way you explained, I was like, this guy is not for this competition. He's at a much higher level compared to everyone else. Uh, if I'm not wrong, this is 2015, 16, if
Uh,
that's
so
time
16 was
frame.
prosthetic arm. This is
Okay.
17.
All right. Okay.
This is
So,
grade 10, 2017.
okay. Huh. Yeah,
Around
please
that.
continue.
Thank you, sir. So this was like the second version. That's where I'd like combine some of the parts and like make them look cleaner because I know I didn't like how the first version looked. So this version could speak in 7 different languages. He could track, follow, recognize faces, and he I think only had like 3 degrees of freedom, so he could only move his head and move his jaw, so he could talk to you. And the cameras in its eyes were like to track, follow, recognize faces, as I said earlier. And even though this version was pretty limited, it was a good start because this was a functional robo receptionist. So you could place him at like at a any office building, and you could give him instructions, and he would learn things very quickly. So you ask him a question, he wouldn't know the answer. You just tell him the right answer, and the next time you ask him, he'll know how to answer it, even if you ask him indirectly. So like you'd pick up prompts from there and be able to use them. And this version was good, but I decided to work on it a little more. And this is the final or the third version. His name's Ferb. He is a 6 feet tall, completely 3D printed humanoid robot. So his body was built up to the chest, so like up to like the up to where you could say the hip was, and below that sat the wheelbase.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and his arms they could carry. They had a geared mechanism with like I think it was a screw and like a rotary thing that could help him carry up to like 60 kgs of weight, like in terms of
Oh,
rotation. And his elbow joints also had like 60 kg servos that could help him carry a lot of weight. So and with all the features of the robo receptionist, this version was built to be more of a rescue bot. So FERB stood for first person view based rescue bot. And yeah, so this is like you send him at a place. You send him at a place where a human life is in danger, and you can control him from a safe place remotely. You had a Kinect sensor to control his arms, and like a VR headset that you can put on and see what he is looking at, right? So for you to virtually be present at another place. After this, I had taken up a few AI projects and that I had done with the team, and then also spent time building a few virtual presence robots. Like one of them's here. Her name's Naila. She's nicely lying on my hammock. And so again, these are based on the whole physically present somewhere and virtually somewhere else thing. Um, Now, while working on all of this, on the side, I had another project that I was very passionate about. That was it's called Broccoli Brains now. That's basically a range of mind and voice controlled, sorry, no voice, mind controlled toys to help develop your concentration. So, like, just sharing a fact with you all, the average human concentration span, and I'd say, like, what do you think is the average attention span of us humans right now? Like the amount of time that we can focus on something before we get distracted by an irrelevant stimuli.
it would be a few seconds, probably 2 or 3 seconds. Am I right?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty low. So like it's about 8 seconds.
Okay.
So like this was like as per a study conducted by Microsoft. So like it's 8 seconds before you get distracted by something completely irrelevant to what you're supposed to be thinking about. Just 8 seconds. And I feel, and they estimated that of a goldfish is going to be 9 seconds. So we humans are like in an existential crisis where our ability to concentrate is a second lesser than that of a goldfish. So it called for us to do something. And I had learned about this new technology called EEG. And these were basically commercial headsets that could read your brainwaves. And I realized we could use these and put them to a purpose by controlling things that we could visualize, or like toys and computer games. And they could act as an incentive for us to build our brain's ability to focus or concentrate, because concentration itself is a skill. The more you practice it, the better you get at it. And these toys were intended to give students and even adults an incentive to practice concentration. So in each of these cases, so like you have the guided rail car on top, the more you concentrate, the faster it goes. You have the remote control car at the bottom, same thing, the more you concentrate, faster it goes. And the drone, it's all of them are mind controlled. So the more you concentrate, the higher it flies. So, like the idea behind this was the teacher would tell them, you want the toys to move, you've got to concentrate on them.
Okay.
And as they spend more time
Rishabh, I've got,
focusing, this
so sorry.
builds the brain's ability to focus over time, treating inattention and even ADHD. Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah. See, it's nice you're talking about EEG, but there are here some people who have never heard of the word EEG. Can you just slightly elaborate about EEG? How is it different from ECG? ECG, I guess some of you might have heard about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. EEG. Okay. I can explain that more. I'll do that. So EEG stands for electroencephalography. Now, EEG is a medical technique that has been around since 1931. So, when you're thinking the electrical impulses in your brain, right? And they, they're basically neurons firing in different neural pathways that lead to, like, you can say, an electrical potential being developed at different parts of your brain. Now, these EEG headsets, and I have one of them with me here. So, like, they use multiple electrodes placed around your forehead and different regions of your brain to read those brain waves. And in 2011, there were these commercial chips that came out that used 2 or 3 electrodes to read 9 of your brain waves, and we could use those 9 brain waves to calculate how well focused you are. Right, so EEG basically is a technology that can read your brainwaves. And these headsets, when I put them on, they read 9 of my brainwaves and use that to calculate how well focused or relaxed I am. So actually, I was just planning to, right after I talk about broccoli brains, I was actually going to go ahead and do a demonstration. So you all could see my brainwaves, though the game is not working. I'm not entirely sure why, but just it's just an unexpected software. Something crashed basically. So I'll show you my brainwaves and then I'll show you a video of the demonstration. Right? So yeah, we'll come back to this. Give me a second. You can hear me, right? Because it shows me that my internet connection is unstable.
Okay, we have a question here, Rishabh, from Kritika. She's saying, does it hurt when you put head?
Oh no, absolutely not. So the best part about these headsets is they're completely non-invasive. So nothing goes into your head. So it's just on your forehead, picking up the potential from the surface itself. So like, I mean, I'm going to take off my headphones. So I hope you can still hear me. But like, can you see this screen here with like different graphs? Is that visible, sir?
Not yet. So all of you can see it is basically it looks
now it should be
headband with a certain piece of sensor attached to it, and he has a clip on which goes to his ear. So all of you can, I hope you can see. This is what the EEG is reading right now.
Yeah. So like I said, so it's reading brainwaves that you can see on the right, different EEG frequencies, and it's using that to calculate my attention. You can see here, right? And yeah, so generally this just something up with the software. That's why it's not showing you my attention, or else there'll be like graph here. Maybe just let me try adjusting the headset. So there was this first version of the headset that was really bulky, and I think working on this over 3 years, this is like the final version of the headset. And I'll talk about Broccoli Brains later, and we basically work on making these headsets along with our toys, and soon hope to start manufacturing them. So the thing is, I'm having a problem with the signal. That's why it's not showing you my attention.
I guess it's finally green.
Yeah, so I think it's showing you my wave now. So if I focus, I can make that attention value go higher.
So currently, Rishabh, what are you focusing on?
So it just has to be one thing, right? So it's not what I'm focusing on. It just has to be one thing. And right now, I'm not having a hard time focusing because for starters, I'm like the people watching, right? So
Yeah.
all, but I can make that go higher. Just have to give me like a minute, focus on something on my table.
All of you, whoever is watching, you can see on the left, the first graph, that is the one which is for attention. And it's valued up on 100, and it instantly it reached around 75, and then it dropped, and that's because of the poor signal.
Yeah, no, I mean, so if you could see like the moment my concentration, so it was going up, it was at around 75.
Yes.
I'll go back to the presentation. And the moment I think Arif like started speaking, so in a way, sort of distracted me.
Correct.
It started going back down again.
That's my job.
Yeah, distracting students. Yeah. So yeah, so that was the idea behind them. And as I've spent more time practicing this concentration, it improves my brain's ability to focus, and hence solves an inattention problem. And even while I'm studying, this can help me focus better at school or what I'm reading. So there's a lot of potential with all of these. And if you want, I'll show you a video quickly with let's not share the sound. Yeah, this is a good video.
Hi, my name is Rishabh Java. I was born in Mumbai, India.
And you can ignore the bad voice because it's high-pitched stuff. I'm going to skip ahead. Okay, so that's like the guided ray car that you'll see. And you can see on my computer, that's the interface. It shows you it will show you when I'm concentrating. And at the same time, the car starts moving. And then if I get distracted again by looking around, it stops. So it's not concentrating. Yeah, and then the toys were all modular and super simple to use and everything. And let me just see if I can find the computer game to show you all. Yeah. Okay, so this is like another computer game. So we realized kids can get bored of toys, so we started making computer games. And this is like there's a card on the screen. The more you focus, the faster it goes, and you get a score based on the amount of distance you cover in like 45 seconds. So if you have highest speed, you're going to cover more distance and get higher score. So the objective was that you keep trying to beat your own score, and hence try to focus more in those 45 seconds. So those are just two short, quick demonstration videos.
So that was amazing. Rishabh, yeah, so this is what I just wanted to know this aspect of it. What is Broccoli Brains? Because if I remember, it was initially your company, and then did you transform into Mind Realm, or did you, open up a new company?
I'll tell you. Yeah. So Broccoli Brains is basically Mind Realm now. So now basically we saw a lot of potential in the product, because presenting it to people and even speaking to students and psychiatrists, we got pretty good feedback, and I realized basically we could turn this into a company or a viable business, and hence there was Broccoli Brains, which is the world's first subscription-based mind control gaming company. So I'm trying to build this into a subscription-based platform where while you subscribe every month, you get 2 new mind control games to play. And as you're playing them, your ability to concentrate improves. So it is a fun way for you to help build your brain's ability to concentrate. So I have a team of 10 people working with me on this right now. We've had a round of crowdfunding, and we have also have a patent that's under process on one of the aspects of our project of our product. So that's like the more official business sort of thing. So one of the projects that I've tried to convert into a product. And Broccoli Brains, the name was a little bit long, and hence we've renamed ourselves or rebranded into Mind Realm. but I still I still like to recognize the project with the name Broccoli Brains because it's more, you know, the whole nostalgia thing, you can say.
Correct. Yes.
So I mentioned to you all one of the projects that I make for fun, right? So this is like, trust me, this is like the last project that I'll be talking about for now. So I like making things for fun, and very recently I was in, like I said, just graduated high school. So in my final year, we had a lot of projects to submit, and a few friends of mine that are on the call would agree. And I have terrible handwriting, so I mean, I could not turn in projects for like external examinations with them. So what I did was I modified one of my 3D printers, attached a pen to it, and then using this software that I found, I would basically made it write my, sorry, just turn off the audio. Yeah, basically made it write my projects for me. So this is just something I had made for fun, something that I thought was cool. The project was never accepted though. It wrote 11 pages that I had to rewrite again. Anyways,
Okay.
but yeah, you should write in beautiful handwriting and you should write with the pen. So idea behind this was just making things for fun that would over a period of time maybe even serve a purpose. And the virtual presence robot Nala that I was talking about earlier, and I actually used her in another project, and I'll talk about that right after this, the few workshops and events that I've been involved with. So right after, like, because of making all of these projects, I was invited to this conference in Singapore called Campus Party, which is like an innovator summit of sorts to talk about my projects basically. And at this event, at this 3-day event, I talked about all these projects, and I conducted a 2-hour workshop on making mind control toys. So over the span of 2 hours, these attendees, which were as young as I think 14 or 15 up till even 60-year-old men in the crowd, they were I basically taught them how to make their own mind control toys, how they could modify commercial EEG headsets and make the and modify the toy aspect of it, and how they could connect them together using software to make toys that make mind control toys basically. And this was when I realized that I really enjoyed teaching people and sharing the knowledge that I had. And even though I was young, students would reciprocate that very well, and they would listen. And from this event, I got an opportunity to conduct a workshop at a village in India. So it was like they invited me to this place called Erode. So it was rather remote, but I think a 2-hour drive from a city. And it was a 3-day workshop where from I think 8 in the morning till 4 in the evening, I taught them how they can make robots basically. And there were students it was attended by school students on the first day, and second day it was first to fourth year university students, and the third day was like a mix of both of them. So yeah, that is what the workshop was about. And there I realized that these students, though they're in remote parts of the world, really do have a hunger for knowledge. So not like us in like first world countries who, or like in developed parts of the world, we are more into things that we do for leisure and recreational things. But these students really had a hunger for knowledge, though they did not have the resources to learn. Basically, they did not have anything where they could learn new things. Hence, I started this project called Hunger for Knowledge, where I had basically collaborated with this same Singaporean exhibition that I called Singaporean company that had called me for the expo earlier. And what we did was I attended 4 of their conferences over a year on completely different topics. The first one was about the 4th industrial revolution, and the second one was about fintech, third about IoT, and fourth was more of a general thing. And I would record my experiences. I would speak to people there, interview the keynote speakers. I would speak to the different stalls and the people exhibiting. And I would record my experiences in short videos that I would share with these schools in India. So giving students in like remote parts of the world access to knowledge, like at international exhibitions for free. That was the idea behind the platform, behind this whole project. And at the end of the expo, at the end of the 3-day expo, I would use, so I showed you Nyla earlier, right? So this was the very first version of Nyla. This is like, I think you can say, I don't know, like a 500 rupee robot. It was literally a shoebox on a trash can. That's literally what it is at an international exhibition in Singapore that was being used to give students a tour of the exhibition, to show them the different to show them the different stalls there and get them access to knowledge they otherwise would not have access to. And we also did this with a few schools in Bhutan. And that was just because of being involved in STEAM, something I was able to do. And I think it was a fintech exhibition where we had like prime ministers and presidents speaking. So I was not allowed to bring my robot, safety risk or something. So that's why I was using a gimbal for the same kind of presentation. And this is, I think, the one about IoT where there was Nyla, the proper robot. And we had adopted a different kind of theme here where I had invited people to have a panel discussion similar to this with experts, again, live streamed to the kids in India, and they could interact with really hotshots. Like, I think one of them was like the head of IoT for India, and people like that basically. And I had spoken, because of all these projects, spoken at a few more events, and I like conducting workshops. So this was one that I had conducted in Dubai. This was by a small crowd in Emirates Stars in Dubai, and then this was a slightly bigger one on making mind control toys, and later on this on making an AI voice assistant. So you know how you have Alexa and Google Home. This workshop was about how you can make your own with and call him anything you want. You could call it like auntie or something, and she'd respond and ask her and program it and everything.
Almost
So
like a chatbot.
Yeah. So that was the like it was a personal assistant, so virtual personal assistant.
Yeah, personal assistant. Okay.
Yes. So like a 2-hour workshop on how you can build your own and call her whatever and with backward detection and everything. Right. And now that I graduated high school and we were all under lockdown, so my normal plans, they went down the drain. But so instead of that, I thought students are missing out on their STEAM classes and the robotics classes that they would have in school. So I thought, why not bridge that gap by conducting these classes online? So I started this series. Now we're on our 11th. We are having our 11th class this week, no 12th class this week, where for 2 hours every week, these were free classes, open to everyone. I would start by teaching them the basics of electronics and programming, and then later start teaching them about building robots. Objective was to later graduate to robots. And as is in the picture, actually, I had the humanoid I was talking about earlier here in the prosthetic arm as well. So I forgot to show it to you earlier, but yeah, here's that. Yeah. So I think we're on the 12th class now, and it was like a free series that basically to prove to students that you do not need money, or you do not need to spend money to learn about STEAM. And you don't even need physical resources. It was about how you could do everything you would do at your school's iLab, but you could do it online and for free. So given all of this, I talk a lot about STEAM, and this is all about the role STEAM has played in my life and the projects I've been involved with because I started with STEAM at a rather young age. So now I'm just going to spend some time talking about the importance of STEAM and why we all should invest time learning about it, irrespective of our age. So STEAM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. So it's a common acronym. We all know what it stands for, but often do not realize the true meaning behind it or the true importance of it. STEAM is what enables scientists, or actually pretty much anyone, to be able to hypothesize an idea, to experiment on it, to analyze the results, and to evaluate whether it's viable or not. It's the backbone or the infrastructure that enables us to do this. And STEAM basically is what can enable you to bring about a change in the world. So it can help you make an impact, actually do something that counts, because all of us, we are here, we do not know our purpose, but it will not hurt to leave a legacy behind, right? And STEAM is a very important tool that can enable us to do this. And it's not just that you make things if you're into STEAM, but knowing about these 4 things, about science, technology, engineering, and math, can help us play a role in a wide host of other related things as well. Like, for example, helping the economy of a country. So like, don't just take my word for it. This is an article, a screenshot from an article from the US Department of Commerce that talks about how not only STEAM occupations are growing at almost the double rate of any other occupation, but it is the people with STEAM that play a key role in sustaining growth and helping build the stability of international economies. And it's the global demand for STEAM-based professions that's just growing at an exponential rate. So it's, I think, about 75% of all careers right now are related to STEAM or need STEAM in them, and 82% of all careers think that it's important to have these skills with you to help you grow in your career. And I think these are some international numbers. So STEAM careers have grown 79% since 1990. Almost all companies want to hire STEAM graduates, though the number of STEAM graduates is going low. So basically what I would tell you all is, if you all want to be a part of the future and have an impact on people around you, or have an impact in this world, knowing about STEAM or learning about STEAM is just absolutely essential, and for more reasons than one. And I think this is where what I had to say would come to an end. And if you all have questions, you can just put them in the chat, or I know Arif can unmute you and you can ask them. Or
okay, we have some very very instant question, which is about how much is the STEM career increase this year?
Okay, I think these are like gross estimates. Like, I think in the US this was about 17% annually. So I would say the international averages would be around that too, maybe a little lower, 14 or 15%. But in general, this is just the growth rate. So like if it's 100 now, it's going to be 117 next year. So it's growing at a pretty fast rate. So if you want to be, to be an integral part of the future, then learning about STEAM is essential.
Yes.
Yeah. And
any other question?
So anything you want to know about any of the projects, or you can just put them in the chat, or raise your hands or circle on YouTube.
First of all, since we are done with this, I would request all of you to give a big round of virtual applause for Mr. Rishabh Java for sharing his journey. It was really, really eventful, very informative, and basically starting as young as 8-year-old with nothing, and now, just cause of his interest and, just about tinkering to do more and more. Even at his fun time, he as he mentioned in his videos, he made a assignment maker. I don't know, I'm just giving it some phrase. So it's really interesting. I remember, I worked with him very briefly. I was there for a competition, mentored him. Okay, and I would see him. He would, during his class hours, whenever he gets time, he used to come. And I remember him making even one particular machine, which is called the world's most useless machine, if you remember.
Yes.
And since he was that talented, that excited, even whenever any students used to come ask me for anything, I would be like, okay, there is Rishabh, you can ask him for anything as easy as soldering to microprocessor programming. Yeah. And if you're lucky enough, we might get Mr. Rishabh in at Y School for explaining and doing something similar to what MIO he's doing right now. As you mentioned, he's at session number 12. So we hope to do something similar at Y School. All right, since I don't see much of questions, so I'll move on to my questions. Okay, this is the interesting phase of ArifTalks. So we have, since you mentioned you started at 7 and you are right now at 17, so I'm going to ask you 10 quick questions. All right, some might be slightly tricky. Okay,
that's okay.
Be inspired by some of the common talk shows that we have. Right. Yeah, we forgot to explain. He's actually a renowned speaker. He has given his talks in a platform called TED Talks. Also, if I'm not wrong, he was there in Singapore, one part of the panelist as well. Right?
Yeah, I think I've given a few.
I think so. Recently, a few days back, he was also in a panel, virtual panel with some people from USA. Is that right?
Yes, so there was a museum in New York, so it was a part of a panel discussion there. Yes.
Okay, there is one question from someone. What would this machine do? What is the future of this machine?
Oh, which machine?
Yeah, the one with broccoli brains.
All right. So, okay. I apologize if I wasn't clear earlier, but like the idea behind that is to help build your concentration. So, for you to be able to focus better. When you're trying to read a book or learn about something, you tend to get distracted by things that are not related to what you're supposed to be doing. And right now, because of all of our devices and electronics, the amount of time we can focus on something is coming down even further. So there was this study that I read that said that children especially, like from a very young age, can only concentrate for the amount of time between two advertisements on TV. So like it's approximately 10 minutes um, between between two advertisements. That's they can only stay calm for that much time, for those 10 minutes, even while they're studying. So out of those 10 minutes, they're actually focusing for even lesser. So it's within 10 minutes after that, which they're hyperactive, and basically they become restless. So this just meant that right from a very young age right now, students aren't able to concentrate at all. So we need a tool that can help regain that ability to concentrate and focus. And I know in India we get a lot of these syrups and medicines that say that they'll help you concentrate, and I was almost forced into taking one of them. I remember I literally walked out of my house. So yeah,
Hmm.
the things like that, they have side effects. They can make you lose your appetite. They can you know get you addictive to them, and they can make you, yeah, it can have effects like that on you. So the most so in those situations, all of them have side effects, so it's not something that you want to do. Therefore, we needed a non-invasive solution that would not have any side effects, and that's what the toys do. They incentivize your concentration, so incentivize your focus to build your brain's ability to concentrate, if that explains it now.
All right. Yeah, I guess that's all. We have another question about through this game, how does it make you focus more on studies?
Oh, right. So this is a question I'm asked often. So the thing is, concentration is a skill. And what we are doing is we are improving your brain's ability to focus. So like right now, your brain can't focus on something for longer than, like 8 seconds on average. Now, by giving you something, so like for that game, you're focusing to get that car moving fast for the entire 45 seconds. So, in a way, you're habituating the brain to be able to concentrate. And that is the idea behind these toys. We're incentivizing a brain's ability to focus so you can concentrate better. So it's an indirect approach. It develops your brain. So it's like, you know, basically, if I were to use an analogy here, now it's like, why does lifting weights lifting weights at the gym help you become stronger, and like opening a jar, for example? Because you've done that, you've built that muscle that you can utilize to do something else. So think of the brain as a muscle. The more you work out, the better it's going to get at doing that certain thing. And we're just giving you games for you to work out or exercise that skill.
That's very well answered. There is one person who has asked, okay, they don't want me to ask any questions. Will it help kids with mental disorders like autism or
Right.
cerebral palsy? I'm not sure that's spelled right.
Okay. So now autism itself is a very different thing. So autism, there are a lot of other, so like, now I do not have in-depth knowledge about autism, but from what I know of it, there are a lot other, there are physical issues that come in, and other mental disorders like mental retardation and things like that that also take place. So what we are doing is we're just helping you improve your focus. So it might not help students with autism, but it does help treat other learning disorders such as ADHD, because that specifically is, it's problematic for students because they can't concentrate or focus on one thing, for like their concentration spans even shorter than ours. And even things like dyslexia, it's they aren't able to read because they aren't able to focus on a text. So if we are able to build their ability to focus and fix those neural pathways, maybe we'd even cure dyslexia. But we're just doing our research on both ADHD and students with dyslexia, though autism has a lot of other genetic things related to it, and it's not just a mental disorder. There are physical aspects to it. So maybe not autism, but yeah, other learning disorders, yes.
Okay, we'll take more questions from students. You guys can write. I have a set of 10 questions because it's a journey of 10 years. Rishabh, are you ready for this slightly, I wouldn't say rapid question answers or rapid fire round or something, but you can take your time. But I want it to be quick. Let's just see whatever comes on your mind first, right?
Yes.
You mentioned that back then when you were at 2007, your driving force was the movie called Robot,
Yes.
which inspired you. What is your chitti or the driving force right now for you?
Oh, good question. I think now that I'm quite older, I think I'm 17, and
You
it's
think?
it's about so yeah. Now that I'm 17, basically, it's now I think I've come to that age where I want to start seeing if I can make an impact on the people around me or have an impact on my community. So there is a lot of appreciation that comes out of that. So, like I said earlier, I've won quite a few competitions with my projects, and that leads to a lot of media publication, like articles in like newspaper, or I've spoken on the radio a few times. So a lot of times those things motivate me. So they're like a few small things here and there that make me feel like wanting to do this more. But in like thinking of a bigger picture, it's about the impact that I wish to have or hope to have in the community, and actually bring about a change in someone's life. Because even with the ADHD project, if one day we're able to actually help someone with ADHD, there's a lot of satisfaction that would come in with it, right? So that definitely does serve as my chitti right now,
Okay. All
or my
right.
motivation.
Okay, the next question up is we know that once you were actually trying out things, you must have failed, you must have had torrid times, not working certain thing, you're stuck at something. But how would you react, or what would you do if you knew you could not fail?
I knew I could not fail.
Fail, yeah.
I mean, that's a bit too hypothetical, because I think every project I know, the first thought is, okay, this is going to fail. So, yeah, that's literally how the project starts.
You don't get frustrated by failure, or when you're stuck with something.
I try my best not to. I mean, that does happen. So, I think most frustrating project I've done would be this humanoid. So it would be like, because each part takes like 8 to maybe even 22 hours to print. So, after you waited that long, you're trying to drill a hole in it to put in a screw, and something just gets stuck and a part of it breaks. That was important. So what I'd land up doing in that frustration was crushing the rest of it as well, and having to reprint what I was could have just fixed using a small thing. So I would get frustrated at this, but it's just about not letting that frustration stop you. So even after you've fallen back down, like you can see, like after spending 4 months from what I expected the robot to look like to what it looked like, it could have been very demotivating. But despite the downfall, it's just about how you get back up and try harder or try stronger, right? And there's a lot of learning in everything. I think even with broccoli brains, I believe a lot in the idea, but when you're presenting at competitions, you fail many times, you don't win, and each time it's like a mental letdown, and it's a failure for you, right? Because you worked hard in a competition and you don't win. But it's just about how you don't let that stop you. So you lose somewhere, you learn from that experience. This is what might have gone wrong. Maybe it was this video, there was this missing in the video. You do that again and you do that better. And I would tell all of you all this. I mean, if not immediately, over time, the results will show and will reflect all the hard work that you've put in. It's almost impossible that they won't. So if you keep doing that, then results will show. So yeah,
Okay.
it's just about getting back from the frustration and any failure.
Okay, what do you value more, intelligence or common sense?
Could you repeat that, sir? Common sense, sir?
Yeah. What do you value more, common sense or intelligence?
Oh, right, common sense. Yes, way more. So, intelligence is important, but if you lack common sense, it is not going to help you. So like if I were to quickly tell you a story, so there was this WhatsApp forward that it was about how there was a group of IITians sitting on this table, and there was a pepper and a salt shaker, okay, and their caps were replaced. So the salt shaker, you know how the salt shaker has many holes on it, and the pepper shaker has just one hole on it. So the caps were replaced. So they're all sitting and they look at this mistake that has been done by probably one of the waiters, and they're just thinking to themselves, how do we replace both of them? And they come up with this very elaborate strategy of using tissue papers and creating funnels using the resources that they had and how they could replace them. And they're about to start this when the waiter comes around and just twists off both of the caps and and exchanges them. So they were super intelligent people. They're IITians, right?
Yes.
And they're thinking of probably the most intelligent way of making that swap. But it was the common sense of the waiter that got it done in like 1/10 of the time, and with like 1/100th of the effort. So definitely common sense over intelligence any day. It is up to you to take this, and I think it's the engineer's motto as well. Take the simplest, most effective approach, and I think it's common sense that gets you to do that.
Okay. Again, a hypothetical question: if you're stuck on a deserted island and you can only take three things, what would they be?
Okay, good question.
I'm a fan, so don't disappoint us.
So, okay, right.
You're stuck up. You can only take three things with you.
Yeah, and this apart from the obvious resources, right?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
food, water, and everything. Because
to survive, probably survive a week or 2 or 3 days.
Oh, I mean, in that case, then the usual, right? So I need clothes. I need clean clothes. That is very important to me. How you present yourself. So like clothes, very important. Then I would take my laptop because I don't go anywhere without my laptop. It's important, right? Survival. So probably that, and because an internet connection. Yes, laptop and internet connection. Because then deserted island. You can go online, watch a Bear Grylls episode. It'll tell you how do you survive the island.
Yes.
See, you have the internet. You can basically have everything, or like order something on Amazon food on the island. I don't know. Anyway, so internet connection, laptop, and clothes. Those three things.
Okay. So what would you recommend preparing for a dream job or creating it?
Creating it.
Creating it. Okay.
Creating it. Yes. Your dream job is not going to be permanent. Let's be honest. Like a lot of us were working our dream job before COVID came along, and even people working 25, 30 years do not have their dream jobs anymore. But I feel if you had created it, then in case your first created dream job fails, you can go ahead and create your second one. I mean, I'd rather learn the skills to create my dream job than just spend time looking for my dream job, honestly. Yeah.
Okay. Slightly on the lower side, how difficult was startup for you?
Oh, starting up Broccoli Brains?
Yeah.
Yeah, not easy. I wouldn't say it was particularly difficult because any startup, first thing that's important is you need funds, because there are a lot of expenses. Just setting up your website can cut you short of a few $100s, and we were a hardware startup, and hardware startups need a lot of cash, especially to prototype and design these headsets. So like each one of these headsets, just a sample can cost you like $80 or like $150 if you want your own branding or something to get them made. So getting funds was major challenge, but fortunately crowdfunding with few people that I know really worked out, so that helped ease the process. And finding the right team. Right now, any investor, first thing they'd ask you is who's on your team. Is the team that they invest in. So finding the right team was difficult, but I'm very happy with the people that I'm working with now. So it's had its challenges, but I think there've been substantial things to motivate me to keep going, and getting students who want to listen or like are interested in it definitely acts as like, a pushing force. It makes you want to do it more. So there have been difficulties along the way, but nothing that, wanted me to like stop or something. So.
Okay. Next question would be, could you recommend a solution for student failure anxiety? Anything?
Student failure anxiety.
Okay. I know you yourself are a student right now, and But
Yes.
you must have faced it while because
Yes.
you had to concentrate on studies as well while you're doing something what you like as well, chasing a dream. So in that context.
Okay. So I understand. Student failure anxiety is something that even I personally have struggled with quite a bit. There's a lot of pressure. I think we all as students, if you all are in the Indian curriculum, you all have a lot of, lot of stress from the amount, loads of things that you have to study, even in other curriculums, in fact. On top of that, if you all want to spend time, with a hobby or something you're interested in, it can get really difficult. And unless you have like a lot of motivation, you do suffer from a lot of anxiety. You are anxious before you start your day. Almost every day you're scared. But if I were to give a tip to anyone suffering from student anxiety, would be look for the small things that can motivate you or want you to keep going. And it's important that you really surround yourself with the right people. So the company that you have is what is going to decide who you're going to be. It's going to decide the thoughts in your mind. It's going to decide what you're going to do. So this anxiety, it can go away easily if you have the right company. So have the right friends with you. If you're having problems, talk to them about it. and and you know and make sure that you cut yourself enough slack or give yourself enough room to do what you're really interested in. And it's and as important as people might make school sound, honestly in the future it's going to be more about the skills that you have. So invest your time learning those. So I, in my life at least, that has gotten a little more leverage over school. So yeah, don't let that anxiety stop you. Surround yourself with the right people, and look for small things that motivate you. Like, keep going.
Okay. We have a student question in. Okay, I'll just rephrase it slightly. Rishabh, what is also your state of mind, since everyone is talking about it, since it's going on in the social media as well, after a certain event, which has, after a loss of a person. So what is your state of mind, and can your broccoli brains can help in decreasing depression through focusing or concentration or any kind of alternative of your project?
Okay. I think the question, just to clarify, it's more regarding how if broccoli brains can help treat depression because of loss of a person, and even the recent times how they've been. So
Yeah.
now what we're doing with broccoli brains, and this is like a separate branch that I'm trying to build simultaneously, is we're using something called positive reaffirmation tapes. So you've probably seen these in movies. So there's like a monotonous sound that goes on that keeps telling you, you can do this, you're fine, you're going to be better, things like that. So it keeps saying things like that, and you listen to them while your mind is in a meditative state. And what it does is it subconsciously programs your mind to, you know, and builds those beliefs in your mind. So like it can, and those positive reaffirmation tapes can help build anything like, self-confidence, um, or any other personality trait, actually self-confidence, like even help fight anxiety, things like that. So it's just by this audio clip that keeps telling you while you're in a meditative state that you're going to be fine, you're going to do better, or everything's going to go away, that those problems actually can get solved. So what we're doing with broccoli brains, and there's something that we're working on quite a lot, is we our headsets can help make sure that you're in that meditative state while you're listening to those audio clips. And if you're in that meditative state, they have as like twice as much impact on your mind. And yeah, basically, just that's how I would say that broccoli brains is trying to do something for depression and other mental illnesses apart from just concentration.
Okay. Yeah. So the last question for you, I guess that's the 10th one. What do you think about Y school?
Oh, good question. So I would say, like I said earlier, learning skills is important, as important as um, learning things that you're learning things that you learn at school. Learning skills is very important for the future. If you all want to be employed in the future, then it's the skills that you have. It's going to matter more than how much you scored at school. And I feel Y School is doing a really good job at transferring those skills to students and giving them the ability to learn things beyond school. And hence, yeah, I'd say it is. I think you're doing a pretty good job with, teaching things beyond what you'd otherwise learn at school, and I feel that's important.
Yeah. All right, I guess it's time, and I could see a lot of, and most of you didn't have your videos on, but I remember you from certain classes, and most of you are young. And I'm pretty sure today everyone, whoever young and old, whoever has joined, are inspired by Rishabh, probably to start young and keep on trying. I guess the message is really clear. If you start now and if you have great dedication and you constantly tinker and develop, your skills and develop whatever you like, you can be the next Rishabh Java or even surpass him. I guess he doesn't mind that.
Yeah, no.
Okay. And we at Y School, we also believe to give every young student that push, or in other words, provide necessary skills to be something great in whatever interest they take, any field, whatever field of life they like. The skill set to tackle the global problems, as small as your own locality, anything it could tackle. So I guess it's really, really interesting about what Rishabh has told today. And I hope everyone understands that using this entrepreneurship, the potential is very huge in STEM, right? You can go in, and if you're really technically sound, and if you're confident in your own product, actually it will, it will make up for other minor mistakes. Of course, if you're not good with financing or something, that doesn't matter. I've seen, I'm a big fan of Shark Tank, but if you see, mostly they see about the product. They don't see about how you present it, or these things are obviously important. But if you're technically sound, if you're very confident in your product, everyone would talk about you. It would push you through whatever you want. Yeah, so I guess you guys should keep on connecting with Y School. And I want to thank again Rishabh Java for coming and sharing his journey, and to participate in Y School. And I hope to see him. We are still in talks. We hope to see him in Y School as well, at Y School, so we can also learn a lot from him. And lastly, before finishing, I want to thank the audience as well. You guys are a wonderful audience. I can see I didn't allow you guys to talk a lot. And yeah, and hopefully I'm also a good host. This is my first time. Okay, see you all next. There are a few last...
So just one second, before we conclude, if you wouldn't mind a bit of, I would say, self-promotion, can I just share my social media handles?
Yes,
so like, in case you have any questions,
sure. Yeah, you can.
reach out to me directly.
Yeah.
Thank you. So just here, there. So if y'all can find me on either one of these Facebook, any of these social media channels, you can write me an email if you have any questions or would want to learn more about any of these projects, or you can add me as a friend on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, or connect on LinkedIn. If I don't think I would be on LinkedIn, but you can find me on any one of these, and send me a message in case y'all have any questions, or just follow along if you want to learn more about the other projects that I'm working on. Right?
Okay. Before ending, there is one last question. I don't want to break her heart as well. How did you manage studies and still continue building all these things?
Right. So that's a good question. I'm asked that often, but I don't think it's too much of a challenge. I feel if you're motivated enough, or if you have the passion for it, it will not trouble you at all. And we all have 24 hours in a day, so at times sleep did suffer. But when exams would be close and project deadlines would be around the same time. But other than that, we often land up wasting a lot of time doing other things, on spending time on social media, or just watching Netflix or YouTube. So it's just about investing that time in something that you're passionate about, instead of just learning on instead of just wasting it over there. So like I think it was in the key years when I was making a lot of things from 9 till 12 started. I had kept myself off social media. So it was only in 12 that I actually went back and started socializing or like interacting with people online. But I found it a distraction at the time, and I was more focused on projects. So I rather invested my time learning things related to them. So it's up to you on how you find time. But if there is a will, there is a way. You know what they say. So yeah, I think if you are interested or passionate, you will find time.
Right. That's very interesting thing to end with. I hope everyone enjoyed today's session, and I hope we have few more people lined up as talented as Rishabh, and probably we can see him in some of our courses as well. So see you all next in the talk show called ArifTalks, and we can get inspired and aspired every time we see someone like a young Rishabh coming up the ranks.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you guys. Take care. See you next time. Bye-bye, Rishabh.
Yeah, thank you all for attending. Thank you, sir.